Yeah, updated Obsidian portal, and yeah, so that's good. Down to nothing. Not that I was really wearing much of anything at the time.
That actually reminds me. I need Marmalek's information. Yeah. Long story short, have to redo all of my information in my combat manager on my tablet. So that sucks. But yeah, Al, do you have Marm's info handy?
Which info?
All his stats.
All of them.
Yes. Not all of them,
right.
just the basics.
He has a strength player of 7.
Well, hey, hold on. I have specific questions.
I'm as well.
Surprisingly, I actually don't need any of that info. All right. First up, initiative. -1.
You'd be surprised. 2.
Oh, all right, not bad. AC.
At 19 total.
What is it?
19.
Holy oh, that's right. You put your intelligence towards your AC, don't you?
Indeed I do.
Nice.
It's
now,
the only thing I have going.
Does that count towards? What does what does that count as?
It's miscellaneous, I believe. So flat-footed would be 10, and touch would be 17.
Okay, there we go. All right. Fortitude.
Fortitude. What's that?
Fortitude.
6.
6. Wow.
No. Sorry. 3.
3. All right. Reflex.
Reflex is 6.
There we go. And will.
Will is 6 as well.
There we go. All right, that's all I need.
All right.
Save. Now did that all go over? Show. Nothing. It did not. So I will delete Marmalek. And then I will add Marmalek. And now it's done. Show. Nothing. What the fuck? Marmalek. Alright, there we go. You are up. Alright, cool. What?
I just realized that I realize it sucks for everyone else, but the fact that we currently have absolutely nothing with us helps Marmalek in the long run quite a bit.
How so?
The Dagger of Suval. How it may have been whispering things, sweet nothing.
I had so much planned for that dagger.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that going away might be better for everybody in the long run. That's a very good point. Alright. This is my phone. Okay. And that. Alright. We ready to go?
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Wait.
Yo.
No, I'm just kidding.
Ah, you fucking whore. You're fired. Alright. Let me lock that until I need it. And let me get that into place. Shut up, Kelly.
That was
Dude,
actually
that totally wasn't Kelly. Oh. Who was that?
That was Kate.
Shut up, Kate.
Shut up. So does John.
I didn't say anything.
I'm sorry. So does Bessie. We have another John. So.
Oh.
Tell her register errors don't occur when there's no register, the bitch.
It was
What?
It was a digital register.
Yeah,
What?
Hey, internet has errors too.
Yeah, ID10T errors, dick.
Whatever, same thing.
Whoosh.
Exactly.
Yeah, tell Kate that she has to be quiet or else she gets half XP as everybody else.
That's gonna mean nothing to her.
It will in a week and a half.
Wait, are we actually gonna get enough XP during that game to level?
Hopefully,
That'll be
I'm
awesome.
not sure. I'm not sure how much of the campaign we're gonna get through.
Mhm.
But the adventure itself is set to go from 1 to 5.
Nice.
So
Alright then.
yeah.
Now,
And
because they're pre-made characters, are the level the level ups predetermined as well, or?
Yes, but only because they're very specific. I mean, there's no in the starter set. There's no feats. You are only one class.
Right.
There's only one archetype to choose from.
Yeah.
So it's put you on a pretty predetermined path. In
Okay.
fact, on the back of the character sheet, it actually says, like, when you level up, you get this stuff.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about.
It takes all the thought out of it, really.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is the we're talking about the starter set, in case you don't know, John. So,
Yeah, I had a feeling.
yeah. So the starter set is actually made for more so for brand new players.
Right.
So that's why it kind of hand feeds you a lot of that. So.
Kind of like the Fantasy Flight, The Edge of the Empire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm assuming. I don't have the box, but it comes with the pre-gens and gives you a short adventure. It kind of works. It builds up through the mechanics. Doesn't throw everything at you right away. So.
Yeah, and what's cool with the starter set is it does the same exact thing for the DM. So at first it's like just give them this amount of XP and this and do this, and as each chapter goes along, it starts saying like, okay, now divide XP. Now if they do this, give them this much. If they do this, give them this much, and it starts complicating things as it goes in, which is nice.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So it's cool that it sets it up for not only new players but new DMs as well. But,
Cool.
All right, but we're not playing the starter set right now, so let's do this. All right, so we're all ready.
Yeah.
So last time, you guys woke up in Ice Graves, not knowing who you were, and you got out and you made your way out of the chasm into the surface. At that point, you were confronted of sorts by a shadowy, cloaked figure who said that she was a follower of the Raven Queen and told you guys that you were in the Shadowfell and that it's weird that you were here because they haven't seen anybody from the material plane for a long time, and she said, the Raven Queen might be interested in speaking with you, but it's difficult to get audience with her. And so she basically pointed you in a couple of directions. She said that you could either go to the palace, which is where the Raven Queen stays, but you could, not get in or be there for a really long time waiting. Or you could go to the temple, where all the Sorrowsworn, which is what she's a part of, that's where they all train and are prepared, and that's also one of the ways that you could get through to the Raven Queen. If you talk to the gatekeeper there, she might be able to give you kind of a word and a nudge to get quicker audience. So that's where you guys decide to go. So you began to travel south. At this point, you are on the top you are in Latherna, just to give you a little bit of back. I'm pretty sure Tuka told you that, which is kind of the area of the Raven Queen within the Shadowfell. So right now, you guys are walking south towards the mountains, which this whole place is kind of ringed with a mountain chain. So pretty much anywhere you go, you're walking towards the mountains. But in this particular case, you're walking towards a specific mountain. And as I said before, this is a very kind of bleak, tundrous area with sporadic, dead-looking, kind of almost sycamore-like trees every once in a while, and with these kind of crags and jagged pieces of rock or ice that kind of jolt up from the ground, disturbing this otherwise totally flat surface that you're on. So as you are walking along, every once in a while, one of the green eerie lights, remember the spirits that were kind of floating about and also were spiraling above the palace?
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, one of those drops from the sky and bombs to the ground. And it ends in that same, now becoming somewhat familiar, screeching echo. So it'll hit the ground and you'll kind of hear the ah, and the psh, and then that kind of echoes for a few moments and then disappears. You guys are traveling for a few hours at this point, and one of them descends only just a few hundred feet ahead of you. And it does, come streaking out of the sky, hits. This time you're a little closer to it, so you actually do see that it kind of gives off this slight burst of light that's almost as if it has a substance to it, that it's slightly tendrillous when it bursts. And then you hear that same kind of eerie screech and slight howl as it as something happens on the ground.
I look around for something that I could use as like a club.
All right. You can grab either a piece of ice or break a limb off of a tree. Anything around you could be able to grab.
Okay, I go for a limb. I figure it'll last a little bit longer.
All right, there you go.
Did you guys? I was gonna say, did you guys see that shit? Don't get too close. I hold the stick out in front of me like, I'm gonna take on the world.
I don't think you're going to accomplish very much with that.
Well, that's all we've got. You can stand in front of me.
Yeah, but if we're trying to make friends right now, I don't think it's a good idea if we come marching in with weapons with it.
Well, we're naked anyway.
That shows openness.
Let's see. For once, Marmalek is right.
It's true. It's true. For once, I am right. And for once, the little one is making some sense.
All right. If that's what you guys want to do, then.
Not picking anything up. There's no need to carry anything right now.
All right, do you want to lead the way, seeing as how you're now adequately armed?
No, go ahead. I'll just make sure that you're okay.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. I'm gonna keep moving.
All right. So as you begin to approach, I'm guessing that you're kind of just moving straight on.
Yeah.
So as you begin to approach, you walk a little bit farther, and where the spirit hit the ground now comes into view. And it's probably about 100 or so feet away, if that. And you actually can see the body writhing on the ground. And it is, bent and broken and contorted in all these different ways. Just as if a body smashing into the ground from a few hundred feet up would. And it still has movement to it. So it's not, you can't, it's hard to kill a spirit. So it still has, quote unquote, life to it as it moves.
Well, that doesn't look like it's a very pleasant experience. Do you guys think that's the same thing that happened to us? I don't remember anything.
Nor I, but I have a feeling that we didn't have to endure anything like this.
Do you think that you'd be able to heal the thing? I mean, will your powers work here? Can you heal it? I mean, I guess he's dead already, right?
I've never attempted to heal a spirit before. In addition, we are in the realm of some other god right now. Were I to even attempt to interfere, I would probably insult whoever it is. I know full well that when I was in Elysium, should any outside influence attempt to come in and upset the balance of power that Pelor set forth, then there would be negative repercussions to be faced. If this is what was intended for this spirit, I suggest we leave it be.
Well, okay, you're the expert in that regard. It just looks like a miserable thing to have happen.
And speaking of miserable thing to have happen, as you guys are kind of walking and talking about this, and you're commenting on this figure broken and bent on the ground, within a few moments, suddenly a black, massless, thick fog begins to roil its way towards the body, and eventually does actually overtake it. You hear hollow squeaking sounds that come from inside the cloud, and eventually you're actually able to spot these small specks of red light within this mass.
Would Marmalek have any idea about, I mean, one, any more insight onto the plane we're currently on, and two, what anything that's going on around us would actually be?
What do you mean in terms of anything going around you?
Like the black fog, the things falling from the sky, the red light in the fog.
All right. Let's see. Go ahead and give me a knowledge planes.
That will be
I think that should kind of encompass all of that.
Okay. 29.
29. All right. So you have read at least about the planes. Hold on, let me. So you've done at least a little bit of research. It was never your primary, but at the same time, Marmalek's, lesser known information is pretty much everybody else's, major. So, from what you can gather from what you've been told and where you are and what you've seen thus far, this kind of reminds you of the Plane of Shadows. But at the same time, let me real quick. Where are you?
Qatar.
Ha 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 ha. Nope. Sorry, I'm trying to find specific information, and my crib sheets are not liking me right now.
Way to ruin the immersion tonight.
I know. It's horrible. Blame Al, honestly. It's all Al.
Well, when all that happens and the fog comes out and he's racking his brain, Galen instinctively just reaches down to his belt to pull out his flask and then realizes that he's naked and just kind of like, oh.
Nice. All right, so here we go. So,
This is in flask.
Wah, wah. Ew. It's much smaller than my flask.
Actually, we didn't try to drink out of it.
Well, you can, but...
If you're really lucky, I guess.
I got a high dex.
Just like mother's milk.
No. All right, let's end this now. All right, so Marmalek. From everything that you've seen, it kind of feels like the Plane of Shadows, but at the same time, you've seen the spirits and you've heard about what this place is for. Obviously the dead go here. So it also should technically be the underworld, which is where all of death goes. The one thing that you don't know is who the Raven Queen is. This is not information that you have.
Okay.
It's nothing that you've ever read. According to you, the person that rules the underworld is Nerul. So theoretically, he should be the head honcho here.
And then one other question.
Yep.
Sorry. The process of going from life to death. Have we basically skipped the ferryman in the middle?
Yes.
Okay then. That is.
So yeah, somehow you ended up in the underworld, shadowy underworld place, without actually doing everything that you should do.
All right.
All right. And in terms of the black moiling cloud right now, it could be anything from if you're in the underworld, it could be any amount of undead apparitions that roam it, or if you're in the Plane of Shadows, then it could be some kind of shadow beast. So, all right. So, as you guys are kind of, this cloud kind of appears and overtakes the body and everything, are you guys kind of stopping, or are you walking a little bit forward but hesitantly, or just kind of strutting along as normal?
I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of this as we go along, so, somewhat hesitant but not really breaking pace at all.
Okay, and are the rest of you kind of just following Dorian's lead?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sticking behind the meat shield.
Pretty much.
Literally.
I just want him in front of me.
Exactly, meat shield. All right. So, as you proceed just a little bit closer, these little specks of red become these blinking red lights that soon number in the dozens. And when they are done consuming the body, at least that's what you assume happens, because when the cloud begins to move off, the spirit is gone. There's a slight residue of green on the ground that kind of slowly evaporates, but the body itself is gone.
All right.
And this fog quickly begins to squirm its way towards you. Go ahead and roll me initiative.
So Galen just goes, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Galen got 11.
All right.
17 for Dorian.
All right.
8 for Leo.
I rolled my only crit of the night, so 22.
Let's see. Marmalek 22. Sorry, what was Dorian?
17.
17. And Leo was
8.
8. Good job.
Yo, yeah, rolling a 5.
All right. So this cloud of blackness begins to kind of squirm its way towards you, and when it gets just probably about 10 or so feet away from Dorian, you all can actually see that it is not in fact a cloud or fog or anything like that, but a writhing mass of these rat-like creatures. So they look like rats. However, they have a more fluid, slightly smoky form to them, that they're actually able to kind of go through and around each other as they move. First up is going to be Marmalek.
Cool. How close are they at this point?
From you, I'd say about 15 feet.
Right. I will shift, we'll say about 10 feet further away from them.
All right, so you're going to step back 10 feet?
And then I'm going to try to assess them or identify them and see if I can figure out any of their weaknesses or anything like that.
All right, you can give me either a... Actually, let's go with a knowledge planes check.
Okay. 30.
All right, now they have a little bit better of a look at them. They are definitely rats, but they look to be of a shadow type. So they are, for all intents and purposes, shadow rats.
Okay, and based on my knowledge, would there be anything that we could do to harm them more easily than not?
Let's take a quick look. So they are of the incorporeal making, and so they are a little bit harder to hit. However, they do they are subject to more of the positive energy. So while weapons and negative energy are difficult to harm them, positive energy is definitely a weakness of theirs.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'll wait until next turn.
All right. So next up then is Dorian.
So obviously seeing these things like swarming towards us, I'm gonna start moving away, like actually at full round speed. So I'm gonna move like a full 30 feet away.
Nice.
And just yell out to everyone, we have no means to protect ourselves, don't engage them.
All right. Anything else?
Basically just kind of like looking over my shoulder and trying to figure out a way to keep heading in the direction we need to go, but also escape these things if when the time comes.
Okay. All right. In that case, next up will be Galen.
All right. He looks over and is like, "Fuck! You heard the man. Let's go." And runs kind of like a button hook around, try to same thing like follow where Agnum would have went and or down and around. Trying to keep the same direction, but take a really wide berth around the rats.
Nice. All right. In that case, next up will be these creatures. And they will go ahead and run at pretty much the only person that hasn't had a chance to run away from them yet, which will be Leo.
Yay.
So, Leo, this mass of shadowy rats squeaks and squeals and screeches their way towards you, eventually kind of consuming all around you. And it's a weird feeling when they actually make it towards you because you expect them to, hit you and claw you and do all that kind of stuff that a normal rat pack does. But these actually kind of intertwine around you and seem to almost pass through you, which gives you this really kind of creepy feeling. So let's see, will a 14 hit your AC?
Yes.
All right. So they will deal, 5 damage.
Okay.
And want to go ahead and make me a fortitude check.
19.
All right, very nice. All right, so basically these creatures kind of like I said, swarm all around you, and as they do, they kind of pass through you and around you, and you feel kind of these tiny little nicks all around your body as they're not necessarily biting you, except at the same time, that's exactly what it feels like.
Okay, then.
All right. And next up now is Leo.
I am gonna run the fuck away from these things. Because they're like ghost rats, basically. But yeah, no, I'm gonna try to swat them off, like as I just like run over them towards where the rest ran to.
All right, so you're going to actually attack them, or are you...
No, I'm just like booking it out of there.
All right, in that case, you will incur an attack.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that is going to be a 12.
I miss.
All right, very nice.
And as I'm running towards them, I'm gonna like yell at Agnum to like throw. I'm gonna be like, Agnum, set him on fire, and like run towards him.
Right. First up, Marmalek.
All right.
Next up.
I'm just over to Dorian, or Agnum that was. If you have any connection with your light, we are obviously in the Shadow Realm, and we could really use some of it. I think things here would be less likely to care for your bright personality, so to speak, if it's still there. And I'm going to move a little bit further away from the mass of rats following in Dorian's footsteps.
All right. All right, you are good. All right, next up then is Dorian.
All right, and after hearing Marmalek mention that, I'm just going to look at him and say, all right, I'll give it a try. How energized am I right now?
What are you talking about?
Do I have all of my abilities, or are we lacking because of like being dead then alive and not actually praying for stuff?
No, we'll consider you full night's rest. Start from scratch.
Okay. At which point then I will actually channel my energy. So you can basically like before with Agnum, you're just gonna see like his body start to illuminate and this big burst going out in 30 feet in all directions of light. And that will be 11 points of positive energy.
Nice.
Would I be close enough to get by that?
Funny story about channel energy, only because it never came up with Agnum himself. It has to, when you use it, it has to target either creatures that will be healed or creatures that will be harmed. So for like, I have to choose either living creatures to be healed or undead creatures to be damaged.
Nice.
It can't do both at the same time.
Ah.
Well, that's bullshit.
It kind of is, but you know what? There you go.
Yeah. It makes sense from, you don't want somebody to both be healing and harming at the same time.
Which would be awesome and incredibly broken, yet still awesome.
Exactly. That would just mean that the cleric would just sit there and be like, I'm healing and harming, I'm healing and harming, I'm doing both roles at the same time.
Bring to me your swarms of undead.
You're right. And you're wounded.
Exactly.
Why not? All right. And yeah, this is probably actually pretty surprise to Leo because he's like, oh, Agnum's glowing, awesome. And then all of a sudden he's not. He still has little nicks and cuts all over his body.
That's just like one more like notch to like Agnum's a dick.
Oh, like Dorian.
Wow.
All right. Now we have Galen.
It's like, oh shit! Look, he still glows! And he looks back to Raz, he's like, fuck, and he just starts running again.
Nice. All right. In that case, now it is the swarm, and they will begin to now pursue Leo, though they are not as fast as you, as they kind of have to, they move as a mass en masse, so they're a little bit slower than they if they were as solo. So they basically just begin to pursue. Leo, you're up. Big rat swarm behind you. Agnum just pissed you off because he didn't heal you even though he glowed. Son of a bitch.
I'm gonna keep running away from the rat swarm and just kind of shoot Agnum a dirty look and be like, "Yeah, thanks for the healing," and just keep running past him.
All right. So as we now have the four of you that begin to kind of run away from the swarm, and at this point, we probably have Marmalek almost kind of flanking the swarm right now because you did run away and then around. So you're kind of flanking it a little bit with Galen and Agnum / Dorian, a little bit ahead of Leo, who has the rat swarm kind of right on his tail at this point. And as if you didn't have enough to worry about, suddenly you begin to see these shadows swirling on the ground. And when you give a quick glance up, you see that there are these dark, almost pitch black birds that have begun to kind of swoop in and circle you in some areas, and in others they are now actually diving straight towards you. Marmalek, you are up.
Okay. I am going to try to run a little bit faster and, if possible, catch up to Dorian and Galen.
All right. Real quick, why don't you go ahead and give me a fortitude check?
Well, I rolled a 1, so I should probably just trip at this point.
You should no, that would be dexterity.
So 4.
All right, yeah. So you're basically just kind of trying to give an all-out force, but unfortunately Marmalek doesn't really have a lot of force to give. So you are able to kind of keep your current state, but you're not able to do any more kind of catching up to them.
Okay.
But at least right now you're almost outrunning the swarm, so that's good.
And upon looking up, can I identify the creatures, or is it just blackbirds at this point?
Right now they're kind of just black masked birds, but I'll say that you kind of get a general idea that being where you are, they're either undead carrion feeders, or they're kind of shadowy, raven crow type things. So
okay.
They're either shadow or undead. So either way, kind of awesome. All right.
I'll just continue on then.
There you go. Next up, Dorian.
Gonna keep moving along with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And just like give Leo like a quick glance, like a once over, just to see like his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You said they're all just like little like cuts and scrapes, or?
Yeah, almost as if somebody kind of just like took a piece of paper and cut him across a few times.
I got attacked by a hunter.
1,000 paper cutting.
So as we're moving along, I'm just gonna look over to him and say, "Suck it up, you big baby. You're fine."
Wow.
Nice.
And keep going.
Very nice. Galen.
Can I tell, does it look like we're close to where the temple is at, or are we still far away, or?
You're still probably another half hour or so of a walk. You could cut that down significantly if you keep on running, but...
Okay. I was just trying to see if we were close enough that, like, maybe this is a Raven Queen's Defenders kind of thing.
I gotcha.
Does it look like there's any sort of protection, like trees that we could be protected from the birds potentially while trying to outrun the rats, like a little strip of woods or something like that you can make towards, or are we kind of all on open ground, or?
Yeah, the area that you're in is pretty tundrous, and there are kind of sporadic trees, but these are also, they look like, dead trunks of trees, basically. They're pretty gray. There's no leaves or anything like that. They're just kind of there as if, the entire waste has pretty much died, but just been preserved almost.
Yeah. No, that makes
So,
sense.
yeah, even if you were kind of under a tree, because there's no
foliage.
there's no foliage, it would offer very little protection, if any.
Gotcha. So if I see the crows then, or the birds coming down, I take the stick up and I kind of shake it up in the air, and I just I kind of keep running. I'm kind of like swinging it around, like like if you step outside, there's a spider web, and you just kind of start like flailing all around. He's doing that while he's running. He's like, "Come on, the temple's still too far away. We can't stop now."
All right. So as Galen begins to freak out just a little bit, the rat swarm is still in pursuit of Leo and supposedly the rest of you, if it can get enough, have enough time to actually eat you all. And as it's going, one of the black forms in the sky, one of the black birds, comes swooping down. And it basically comes almost directly towards Leo. So it's coming from the sky and directly into your face. And as it swoops down, you hear kind of this almost quiet sound as it goes right over your head. And Marmalek can actually see, because you're kind of next to the swarm, that this thing scoops down, smashes into the swarm of shadow rats, and comes up with this kind of mangled, ripped half of this rat. And when it rips, it actually looks like, just smoke being torn apart. So it kind of wriggles and writhes and then pulls apart, and the bird continues now back up into the sky. And Leo.
All right, I'm gonna kind of duck under the bird.
Mm-hmm.
When I duck, I'm gonna follow where the bird goes. Would I see what the bird just did to the rat too?
You would have to turn around completely in order to see that.
Okay, then yeah.
I mean, it is possible. It would slow you slightly, but not too much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna duck and kind of try to follow it, but I'm gonna keep running as fast as I can away from the rat things that are attacking me.
You're basically it didn't hit me and it kept going. Good.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Nice.
the rats are still right there, so I'm gonna keep running.
All right, very nice. Marmalek.
At this point, having seen that, I am just going to keep running. Because hopefully there are enough birds that they will be able to attack the rats some more.
All right, there you go. Dorian.
Everyone's still with us. No one else is being attacked. Keep going.
All right, Galen.
Same thing.
All right,
Just haul on ass. Because I'm assuming I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, exactly. You saw the bird kind of start to swoop down, but it was behind you, so.
Right. Why do the birds hate Leo so much? Why is everything trying to kill Leo? Leo, run faster!
All right, and now you guys, well, at least Marmalek sees that quite a few more of the birds, and you guys can all kind of see that more birds begin to descend. And Marmalek especially can see that a few of them begin to kind of swoop down and grab more of the rats. And as they do, the fog of rats kind of begins to thin out slightly, and eventually, as their numbers begin to diminish, what you thought was a fog was rats. Now they actually do become kind of this incorporeal mass, as the rat forms almost disappear, and they do literally now become fog, and they just kind of disperse. That will be Leo.
All right. I'm gonna kind of like look up at the birds because I've had like 10 of these things dive bomb my head, but
Practically.
none of them have hit. So I'm wondering why.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna kind of like slow down slightly and kind of like start running backwards to see like what the hell they're really doing instead of actually like because there's no way in hell they all missed me by that much. I'm not that lucky.
Right. So yeah, as you actually turn around, you can now see that they are kind of swooping. You catch kind of the last couple that swoop down before the cloud disperses.
I'm gonna yell out to whatever his name is in Galen. I'm gonna be like, hey, I think the birds are actually on our side. The rats had kind of disappeared. And I'm gonna kind of like yell up to the birds like, thanks.
Forgive me if I don't do a response from the birds.
They're trying to eat your face. What are you talking about? And I kind of start to like turn around a little bit while I'm running. So I'm looking one way and I'm running the other way.
Nice. And yeah, as you begin to kind of like slow down a little bit, you're like, oh, the rats are gone.
Huh. And I'll kind of start to slow down. Hey, hey, you! Did you see that? The rats are gone.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they won't be coming back. As it just we keep moving.
Well, I'm not saying that we should have a picnic.
I agree.
Good. Did you see what happened? Leo said that the birds they ate the rats or whatever.
Well, while that's good, there's nothing to say they won't be coming after us next.
I think they probably could have already if they really wanted to.
Now, if there's one thing I learned, it's that you always go after the weaker one first. The rats were much easier to take over than we would be, so the birds would go after them first.
All right, well, let's keep moving then.
All right, so you guys continue on then. All right, so after walking for, like I said, about another half hour or so, you finally make it to the edge of the mountains. And now these mountains here rise up fairly quickly, almost as if they've been kind of dropped here. You know how, and you guys definitely know from all your travels over the last several months, that, you know, mountains usually have a general ascent, you know, of kind of some hills and mountainside, and then eventually you get into, like, the higher ups of the mountains where it gets really steep and dangerous and treacherous. With this, you're walking along plains, and then all of a sudden, mountain. So it's very, very sudden in its ascent. And high above you, the mountains actually stretch into these low-hanging clouds. So the tops of the mountains are indistinguishable from the sky. And while you cannot see your goal, so you were pointed in this very specific direction to go to the temple in the mountain. And while you can't see a temple because of the basically billowing gloom that's hanging overhead, you kind of get a sense that you're heading in the right direction, because at the base of the mountain there are hundreds, if not possibly thousands, of glyphs, sigils, and other semi-random scratchings on the mountainside.
Semi-random. Is there a pattern?
No, it looks more... It's almost like it's graffiti. So you know how, like, when you see a large wall of graffiti that, you know, connected, they don't really mean anything, but individually they do. So that's what kind of the semi-randomness of it is. So there are some that have been, like the glyphs and sigils, Many of those have been purposely carved here with precision and tools and such, whereas some are kind of more haphazard and I don't necessarily want to say rushed, because they still look like they're good quality, but they just weren't done with the same quality of tools or hand.
Understood. All right. Can I read any of them?
Do you have Knowledge Arcana?
Do I have knowledge on?
Who are you talking to?
It's my my lowest one.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, all right. So 19 in it.
Nice. All right. So you can actually tell that many of these are glyphs and sigils of protection. So you kind of get the sense that these are put here to ward off the other creatures or inhabitants of Latherna, to keep this area safe.
Right. So I don't think anyone needs to know that, so we'll just keep moving along, I guess.
Very nice. So at this point in time, what do you want to do?
Is there any common written on the wall?
No.
Okay. Damn.
Do we notice the weird glyphs?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So,
They are very prominent.
Yeah.
Marm, can you read those things up on the mountain?
Yeah. The pretty much they're all for protection. So all sorts.
So should we go in there then? Does that mean we'll be protected?
I assume it means that something in there is being protected. I don't know if it would be from us or beneficial to us, but we could try. I mean, I think we're headed in the right direction still, right?
I think so. I don't think we have very many other options at this point.
And I'll just interject quickly. There is no in. There's only up.
How steep of a climb? Like, is there any paths leading up at all, or?
No paths. It is semi-steep, but by no means anything that you would need climbing or climbing tools or anything like that. With the appropriate time, care, and effort, it could possibly be scaled.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are we to fall and die?
Depends. Do you have a mask?
No, I just... Oh, God.
Is it
Luckily 9.
on a scale of Billy Goat to Cal? How likely are we to fall?
So basically what you're asking is, what is the cal drop factor of this mountain?
Exactly.
What is the cal drop factor of the wall?
There you go.
I'd say it's somewhat significant. It's probably about a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Look, Marm looks around, so we go up?
Really? You want to climb this? Naked and with no tools. You want to climb this?
I mean, do you want to go around?
Can we get around?
I don't know.
Can we fall and die here?
Well, we could probably do that.
We're already dead.
We don't know that for sure, because I'm pretty sure those green glowing bodies are the dead ones.
Yeah,
Even
but the
that-
rats... Go ahead.
Even that one we spoke to earlier said that we shouldn't be.
But the rats came after us too. If they only go after the souls or whatever that was, they should have bypassed us, shouldn't they?
Not necessarily. Assuming that we are alive, that means we should still have our souls.
Maybe we should knock.
By all means.
I'm just gonna walk up to the wall and just like pound on it a bunch of times. Anything?
Oh, he's not here.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Damn it, Booze.
That fucking whore. Ugh. So yeah, Dorian and Leo get along like gangbusters.
It's been pretty awesome.
That's because you're being all butthurt that I'm not like all touchy-feely anymore.
Dude, you didn't even fucking hail me.
Dude, you had like little nicks and bites.
You didn't even tell me your real name, you dick.
You were never gonna let that go, are you?
I punched you in the face for it. No.
I punched you right back.
Hey, Caboose is back. Alright, so I walked up to the wall and I pounded on it.
Okay, that hurts because it's
I
rock.
knocked. Yeah, I know. I knocked.
Okay.
Any reaction?
Okay, you hit rock. It hurts.
Okay. Damn.
Does this stretch as far as the eye can see, or is there a way around this?
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys could see now that you're kind of closer to the mountainside that and you can see for probably about 400 or 500 yards before kind of the low-lying fog eventually kind of just obscures everything. But as far as you can see from left to right, the mountains go and continue on out of your hazy sight.
Fuck, I think Marm is right. We might have to go up and over.
Well, where did she say this place was that we were supposed to go? Did she say it was past the mountains?
I don't remember. I think she said it was south, right? I mean, that's the way we're going, we think?
Yeah. Hey, Mom, you're smart and remember shit. Where did she say it was?
That way.
Thanks. It's great help. I'm gonna cup my hands around my mouth and I'm gonna yell hello, like up to the top of the mountain.
All right, you kind of get this echoey hello. Hello.
And I'm gonna listen.
Okay.
I don't hear anything.
No.
Well, I mean, if the temple is this way, right? I mean, this is the way we want to go, or is this the wrong way? I mean, I don't think I want to go back the other way, do we? I mean, we walked all this way already. And I don't even have anything to drink. I mean, this is bullshit.
Are there any birds still above us?
It's a little hard to tell because the fog seems to cling to the mountain a little bit. But occasionally you do see, a handful of birds that kind of come through the mist and through the clouds up and then kind of circle around a little bit and come back out.
Are they going back towards the mountain or like back away from the mountain when they go out of our vision?
Some away, mostly towards.
Alright,
Alright, you know what? Would it be an intelligence roll or a wisdom roll to recall what she told us?
I'll tell you. She told you to go south towards... She told you that remember before there was that kind of writhing cloud in the sky, the black cloud that occasionally bits and pieces of it scoop down and scoop back up.
Yeah.
She told you that gave sign to the temple and that it was south at the mountains.
All right. Have we reached that cloudy area yet?
That is where you've been traveling this whole time. It kind of went out of sight a little bit from when you got towards the mountain, again because of the fog. But you kind of get the sense that what you were seeing of that big cloud scooping in and out was probably a giant mass or several giant masses of the shadow birds.
Okay. So we might actually be where we're supposed to be then.
Or were we supposed to wait here, or?
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check something out. Just give me like 5 minutes. and I'm gonna.
Where the hell are you gonna go?
I'm gonna go back north and see if I can see around this fog. See if I can see any big banks of those birds. They'd probably be near the temple.
Well,
All right.
Makes sense. All right, so I'll be right back. And I'm gonna head back north to like get out of the fog, and pretty
Okay.
much just do what I said. Like look for like a large amount of birds, if they're like to the east or west of us.
All right, so you jog for a few minutes then north.
Yep.
And you kind of soon make it far enough away. It takes you probably about 7 or 8 minutes, but eventually you are able to kind of see up enough that you don't see the same giant, massive birds that you had from that huge distance away, but you do see a decent-sized flock of them that are kind of hanging out around the mountain. And they are a pretty decent way up it as well.
And like directly south of me, or like to the east or west?
No,
or?
fairly directly south.
Shit. All right, good to go. I'm gonna head back south to where the group is.
All right.
I'm there. Hey.
Time
all
warp.
right. Time warp. So yeah, there's. I think Marm actually might be right. Directly above us is quite a mass of those birds. And given that it's the Raven Queen, I'm guessing the birds are near the temple. So we may actually have to climb.
Well, is there any more of that ice around, Boos?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I want to see if I can start breaking up a couple pieces and make them like hand daggers. Maybe dig them into the side of the mountain and help with the climb.
You want to dig ice into the side of rock.
Hey, you know what? It's a strange, strange world we're in right now. You never know what'll work.
Yes, it is. Not that strange, though.
Okay, fair enough.
Is the mountain all solid rock, or is there like ice on it, like coating it?
No, not a lot. Towards the very bottom, probably for about 15, 20 feet, there's small shapes of it, but you can see that fairly quickly that breaks away and just gives way to straight rock. It is this kind of... It looks almost kind of like a shale. It's not brittle, because Leo punched it, so you can tell that it's very hard. But it does have very sharp and I wouldn't say sharp, but very defined edges. And it's by no means, nice and smooth and round or anything like that. It is very, very defined, very, angular. Almost like the aggro crag. Think of it that way.
Okay.
For you children of the 90s.
Wow. All right. Well, looks like we're climbing. Anybody else any good at climbing?
Not really.
All right, then I climbed a lot in the woods. This can't be much different. Not exactly going to be able to take this with me, and I'm going to, like, drop my ice club thing on the ground. Like, just watch where I put my hands and try to follow where I go. And I want to start climbing up the thing.
All right. In that case, we are going to do an encounter
Ooh.
of this. So for once, we're going to mouse guard. So Leo is going to give me a climb check.
26.
Oh, nice.
Oh, shit.
So
Just
you're
like
gonna,
Al, only time I'm going to crit all night.
right. So you're going to go ahead and do that for me. And then the rest of you, choose something that you think will help in this situation. So you are basically doing something to help the group along, and that will add to the check that Leo just did. So we will go ahead and start with Dorian. We'll go Dorian, Galen, Marmalek.
All right. I'm going to be watching attentively to what Leo's doing, where he's placing his hands and feet. And as I follow up after him, I'm going to be dictating down to the two behind me where exactly they should grab onto and place their hand and footholds.
Very nice. What skill will you be using for this?
Can I use my perception?
Sure.
Okay. That will be 21.
Very nice. All right, that is going to be a +2. Boom. And Galen.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a little different.
How about a bluff check? You're doing great. Yeah, it's fantastic. I see exactly what you're doing. I'm gonna follow right behind you. It's gonna be great.
I like it.
All right. Oop, threw the dice on the floor. Let's see, 10, 19.
Very nice. All right, that is also a success, so that is another +2.
Sweet.
All right, and last but not least, Marmalek.
As we get started, Marm will talk about the strongest shape that you can make, and which is a triangle, and talk about 3 points of contact and maintaining balance. And that would be a, I believe, knowledge engineering check for structures. All right.
Now I rolled a knowledge check. Shocker.
I know, right? 19.
Nice. All right. Wow, would you roll a 2?
A 5.
Nice. But a 19 is enough, so that is another +2. So you guys end up with a 30.
32.
32, sorry. Oh, that's right, you rolled a 26. So yeah, a 32. That is insane.
I like this system.
Very much.
Yay! Teamwork.
Yeah,
Right?
What a concept.
All right. So you guys actually end up fairly easily scaling this mountainside. It has kind of enough, there's an occasional plateau. Though small it may be, it gives you guys a little bit of a rest, and because of the angles and the wise advice from Marmalek, you're able to always keep contact and always keep moving. The false confidence of Galen ensures that you guys are always continuously moving, and that you kind of have the faith that you'll be able to do it. And since Leo doesn't have to concentrate on showing you guys how to do it, because Dorian is there giving instruction as you go up with his careful perception of Leo's movements, you always know where to go. So you guys scale this in no time at all. It is time. It takes you about 3 hours in total to actually make it up this thing. But again, like I said, you are able to rest slightly here and there, so you don't get worn out from the climb. So, as you are climbing, you reach another one of those small cliffside plateaus that you think that you'll be able to rest at a little bit. However, when Leo kind of pulls himself up and over to it, you realize that this small cliff is actually quite larger than the rest of them. And this is actually an outstretched flat terrace, almost, that edges the entire cliffside. It's probably about 8 or 9 feet wide, and you can't tell how long it goes on either side of you. As all 4 of you kind of get up, you look around slightly, and out of the slight mist that's kind of clinging to the side of the mountain, a woman appears that is very striking in appearance. She's dressed in elaborate robes, plaited silver hair, and she actually has tribal tattoos almost over her entire body. And she stands before you. you notice that the Raven Queen symbol actually dangles from a chain around her neck.
From a knee, I'm gonna just kind of hold up a finger and be like, "It was a big climb. Just give me a minute."
And the woman kind of stands there, her hands folded in front of her, and she kind of stares slightly blankly at you, but kind of through you. So she's not looking directly at you, but she's looking in your general direction. And she says, "You come to Svomarana as honorable supplicants, and by divine law, you must pass the appointed tests before advancing on to the Citadel. The monks here shall guide you through the first 4 of the 9 veiled gates of fate along your road to destiny. As you pass these tests, the fate pillars of Svomarana will glow, visible only to you through the mists. You must come to me in the inner sanctuary, pierced by Thorn's deadly visions, bathed in holy water, Raven's skull and holy writings in hand. Only then can I, Felida, holy speaker of Svomarana, open the 5th gate to you."
Wait, more pillars and more gates? What the hell?
Marmalek, you've
Yes,
kind of
yes.
caught your breath a little bit at this point, and you've been listening to her. Want to go ahead and give me an Arcana check?
Do I ever?
Look at this, using the 2 skills, the 2 knowledges that you've almost never been able to use, Arcana and Planes.
And I'm just not rolling that well tonight either, so 19.
19. All right, so you look at it, and something weird. There's something weird about this woman, but you can't quite place your finger on what it is. But you kind of get a sense that she's different somehow, and not shadow different, like the rats or the birds. But she's not quite human.
Okay. You get these tasks in writing by any chance? I'd love to have like something tangible to hold on to. Like, do you have a book maybe or something I could hold on to?
And she just kind of stands there patiently, semi-motionless, just kind of still hands folded in front of her.
Are we at the very top? Like, are we like smooth sailing from here? Or do we still have like a climb that we have to finish still, or?
So you actually kind of start looking around, and you're like, "Crap, is this it?" And you can actually see Galen behind the woman. There is this, the fog around her kind of parts slightly when she appeared. And there is a wide stone staircase that actually leads into the rest of the cliffside behind her.
Okay. So I say to her then, so do we follow the path behind you, and that's going to lead us to wherever you're going to be at?
And again, she just kind of stands there.
Mom's going to get a little bit closer and try to actually look at her and kind of, what are you? Who? I mean, I know who you are, you just said. What is your, I mean, just kind of assess her a little bit more and try to figure out what the hell's going on.
And even as you walk up to her and get close, she doesn't even really recognize your presence and continues to be motionless.
Could I do a knowledge religion to figure out who she is and what exactly her function is here?
Oh, well, she's pretty much told you. She told you that she is she guards the temple. She is the holy speaker. So she's basically, I'm not going to make you roll for that at all. She's given you all the information practically.
Well, basically, if there was any dogma that I would have remembered that would lead me to distrust what she's saying.
Yeah, you can go ahead and try.
All right. 16.
All right. No, she seems pretty much on the up and up. I mean, there's nothing that you've learned or that you've studied so far that would lead you to believe that any follower of this person would lead you astray in such a way.
Okay. All right. So at that point, I'm gonna just look at Marmalek and Galen. All right, we're wasting time, guys. Who knows if there's a time limit on this thing? And personally, I'd like to get out of this realm as soon as possible.
So down the stairs then?
I'm gonna turn toward her. Will you direct us to the where we're supposed to go?
And she stands motionless.
Marm's gonna try to touch her.
Oh,
and your hand goes right through her.
God damn it!
All right, staircase it is, I guess.
Marm's gonna continue to paw at the air.
All right, I'm gonna turn to Leo. How you doing over there?
I'm fine. I just need to catch my breath.
How you doing?
All right, well, let's get going.
Oh, before we go, I'm going to assume that I would have had to have dropped my stick for the climb.
Most likely.
Pick up like a big rock or a chunk of ice or something that I could use as a weapon now that we're up at the top. If there's anything available.
Yeah, sure. You can get a rock or something like that.
Okay.
All right. So you guys then go towards the staircase.
Yep.
All right. So these stairs, like I said, it's this wide staircase carved out of the stone and rock of the mountain, though very clean, very intricate. And it continues for several dozen stairs up into the side of the mountain, and it eventually breaks through the top. And flanking the end of the stone case are two tall black obelisks. On one side, one of them is very pristine, almost as if it had just been polished, while the other one is cracked and weathered. As you pass the pillars up into the top of the staircase and beyond, the stairs end and give way to a flagstone plaza, whose edges disappear into the fog around you. And barely visible in the short distance does stand a small building.
All right. So, into the building?
To the building.
I want to take a look around first and see if this is any more sketchy than what we already think it is.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Alright. 10.
All right. It is no more sketchy than a small building on the top of a plateau of a mountain could possibly be.
Alright, well, I guess we follow Dorian or whatever he's calling himself now.
Either one will be fine.
All right. So you guys begin to walk towards the building then.
Yep.
All right. So as you begin to get a little bit closer to the building, you the fog seems to dissipate as you get closer to it until it becomes clear. And as you make it towards the building, you can now see that one side of the structure is barely standing. Stones have tumbled away, and it almost looks like there's these green-black vines crawling up the side, and it almost looks like these vines are holding up the side of the building and encompassing the entire inside of it, almost providing structure to the structure. However, the other side of it seems as if it was just built mere days ago.
To the two sides of the building, like the one that looks good and the one that doesn't look good, is it the same side as like the two obelisks? Like
It is indeed.
Okay, good to go.
Alright, so having seen that then, is that theme pretty consistent throughout the entire plaza that we're in right now? Like one half seems to be brand new, the other half seems to be old and weathered?
No, the plaza itself is just kind of this flagstone that it seems in relatively okay condition.
Okay.
It's only this the building itself that shows this kind of half and half.
Okay.
All right. So as I said, as you get a little bit closer to the building, the mist does clear around the structure. And when that fully happens, you can actually see that there is a handful of what you assume to be monks in black robes that remain nearly motionless, kneeling on the ground surrounding this building.
Are they facing towards the building or towards us?
Towards the building.
I want to walk up to like one of the ones in the back row and kind of like tap him on the shoulder.
Okay, and he does not move, so he's solid, and he does have matter to him when you touch him. Though you hear a slight hum coming from him, almost as, and he does kneel with, so he's actually bent, almost kind of kowtowing towards the building, so he's there on his knees, and then with his hands also kind of supporting him on the ground. So he kind of just stands there, not really acknowledging your presence.
Hey, try to touch him. Maybe they're not real either.
I can touch him.
Oh.
He's definitely he's just ignoring me. And I'm gonna like lean towards him, I'm gonna whisper, I'm gonna be like, hi. What are you guys praying to?
And he still continues on with his,
Yeah, I'm gonna stand up. I think we just walk right past them. They're not really reacting to anything.
Well, but didn't that girl or whatever, didn't she say they were going to help us?
Yeah, I think she lied.
Maybe you should let them know why we're here.
We're supposed to go through like 9 circles. You guys are supposed to help us.
and then one of the monks does rise after a few moments and walks over to Leo, hood pulled down, arms crossed in front of him. And when he does kind of walk over, he kneels down to the ground next to you, again starting to face the tower, the building, I mean. And he then just kind of sits there.
Excuse me. We need some help getting through the 9 circles. Any chance you could give us that help?
And he gets up slightly on his knees and then bows down again.
Does that mean we're supposed to go that way?
Marm is going to kind of face the building as well and mimic what the monks are doing. Kind of get down and mimic their motions and kind of put his head down towards the building.
Okay. How close are you going to go to a monk?
I'll probably get, if there's any sort of formation that they're doing, I'll just find a spot that's free and try to move it.
Not really. They do seem semi-sporadically. They are all kind of a decent, not a decent distance, but all fairly similar in terms of distance around, but they aren't really spaced out any specific way.
Okay. Kind of go towards the front of them and do it. Kind of come between them and the building and see what happens.
Okay. And so they don't really move. You haven't disrupted them at all.
Seeing Marm do that, I'm be like, oh, okay. And I'm gonna do the same thing next to the guy that moved.
Okay.
Just like pretty much like right next to him, and I'm gonna like look at him and like see how his head is, and then I'm gonna like face the floor and like try to mimic his humming.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna turn around to like kind of like stop humming and like look at like Agnum and Galen and be like, you guys should do this too. And then I'm gonna look at the floor and start humming again.
What the hell are you talking about? You're just looking at the dirt.
Just
If they're not going to help, we should just go in.
Dude, just shut up and do this. Maybe we're all supposed to do it. Would you hurry up and do it? I feel like an idiot. And I want to stop.
Like
so go. Exactly. So go do it. Shut up. And I'm going to start humming again.
Well, maybe they've got extra robes. We should just go in. We'll get dressed. They might have a little bit of booze stashed away. I mean, they're out here in the middle of nowhere. They have to do something, right? Keep themselves occupied.
I'm gonna stop humming and turn my head to the guy sitting next to me and go, do you guys have any extra robes?
And he stops humming for a moment to acknowledge that you've spoken, and then continues to hum again.
Yeah, they don't have any extra robes.
Son of a bitch.
And they said he said to me, drinking is an evil. So they don't have any alcohol either.
Oh, well, this just goes from bad to worse.
So you get a hum. And I'm gonna start humming, like really loudly, glaring at Galen.
So he hums like way out of tune, like
Like actually humming a tune.
You're right. Is this helping?
I don't know. Keep going. Agnum, anytime.
I'm gonna sigh and walk up to the monk that's humming and everything, and say to him, "We seek audience with the Raven Queen. Will you lead us to the first challenge?"
And how close are you to him?
Say about 5 feet away from him.
Okay. You hear him whisper something, but it's practically inaudible.
Ooh, did I hear it?
How close are you to him?
Right next to him.
All right. You did. So he actually whispered, "First you must be pierced by thorns, deadly visions."
Alright, he said he's gonna stab you with a thorn, so kneel down and hum.
I'm gonna look at Leo and just like crouch down in front of the guy and say, "Can you repeat that, please?"
And he just continues to hum.
Like,
and Marm's gonna get up at this point and look over. What?
He said we all gotta kneel down and start humming, and then he's gonna like stab us with a thorn, and then we can go. So, kneel down and hum.
What? What did he actually say?
That's what he said. He said,
I don't think monks
first
talk
you
like
must
that.
be pierced with the thorn of something, and then you can go.
Thorn?
Yeah, that's what he said.
And Marm's gonna turn and look back at the building. And do the vines have thorns?
How close are you getting to them?
Well, I was at the front of their formation. How close were they to it?
You're probably about 10 or so feet away from it then. And I'm guessing from that distance, you can probably make out, you've actually, and I'll tell you guys right now, you've gone long enough that you'll realize now that there's no day-night cycle. Pretty much is this constant, almost haze of dawn. So it's always that kind of slight bluish, dim light that's constantly hanging in the sky. But even with that light, and especially considering Marmalek has dark vision, you can actually see that indeed these vines do have these very kind of reddish black thorns that come out of them, and very, very hooked, fairly long, very menacing looking.
Okay. I'm gonna look over back at Leo and Dorian and Galen and be like, well, I think this is the first task over here at the building. I can see the thorns on the vines, but do you think we should rest up before we begin? Are you guys tired?
Are we tired?
No.
Okay. Are we hungry or thirsty at all? No.
Not particularly.
Okay. Alright, makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm not tired. I'm good.
Okay. I figured Galen, all 3 feet of him would have had a hard time. But hey, if we can keep going, we can keep going.
I'm still humming away. It's trying to be as annoying as possible.
Mission accomplished.
At this point, I'm gonna get up and walk over to Marmalek. I'll be like, "So you think we have to stab ourselves with these thorns?"
Yeah, I do believe so. And
Alright, I'm gonna reach up and I'm gonna freaking slap one of the thorns so it pierces my palm.
All right. It hurt a little bit.
And then
I'm gonna do the same on the back of my hand.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my hand under the face of one of the front row monks. I'm gonna be like, is this what I'm supposed to do?
And he continues to hum.
I'm telling you, we should just go in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. Slapping the wall, grabbing the vines? What? This is ridiculous.
I think all
building.
4 of us have to stick ourselves with the thorns.
So if I don't stick myself, Marma's going to wind up dead like when Agnum didn't drink the potion?
I think we're already dead.
Oh, first we were supposed to kneel and hum. Now we're supposed to stab ourselves with thorns. So what's the answer, Leo?
Go stab yourself with the thorn.
Fine. So I'm gonna walk over and push one of my thumbs into the thorn, so it just breaks the skin and it lets out a drop of blood.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stare at Galen.
Yeah, that's fine. And he just kind of stalks off towards where the thorns are, sticks his one left-hand index finger out and just touches it, kind of like Agnum did, and just pokes a little spot on his finger.
All right.
See? And he holds up his index finger, poked.
Alright. And then I'm gonna get down on my hands and knees like the monks and face the building and start humming.
Wow, you just really can't make up your mind, can you?
I figured there's a process, and you're supposed to stick yourself with the thorn and then hum. I'm guessing all the other monks stuck themselves with the thorn first, and now they're doing the humming thing. If you have a better idea, you can say it.
Well, they're just sitting out here. Even if they poke themselves and they're humming, what good does it do? They're sitting out here.
I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go along. Let's do it.
I'm just gonna wander into the building if there's any way to get in.
Oh yeah, there is.
All right, just gonna wander in.
All right, and so when you wander in, it's fairly wide open in this small building. You basically walk in through a door that's almost right in the center, and you kind of have to maneuver yourself around some of the vines that have taken up the one side of the doorway. And when you get inside, you see now that the vines are not only on the outside but also in the inside, and they pretty much take up half of this building, where now the shrubs and brambles and everything have kind of filled almost the entire side of the wall of the temple.
Wow. All right. How big of a temple, little building is it?
It's probably about 30 by 30.
Okay. Just gonna walk towards the middle of it, kind of, and see if I can spot anything interesting in there.
All right. No, overall, the side that you're on is pretty empty, and you feel like the other side would be equally as empty if it weren't for all the vines. And now I should tell you too, these aren't like densely packed in there. They do kind of weave and wind their way around. So it is a fairly loose vegetation within, though because of the density and strength of the vines, it does seem to be kind of holding up the area around it.
Okay. I guess look around a little bit more, check under some of the vines, and come back out.
While he's inside, I want to walk back over to the monk that spoke to me, and get down on my hands and knees like him, and hold up my palm so he can see the blood dripping from it. Be like, all right, now do you have any extra robes for us?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
15.
All right. So he continues to hum. But now that you're kind of down on the ground and you're kind of trying to talk to him, you actually notice now that his hands are exposed from underneath the robe, as are his feet, and you can see a little bit of his face. And the one thing that kind of catches your notice is that he has scars of varying age over pretty much every portion of his skin. And there's kind of these long, thin scars.
Okay, so how often do I have to... How many times am I required to stab myself with the thorns before you give me a black robe? Nothing.
Nothing.
I was gonna say when Morm went in, Galen would have followed.
Okay.
I'm gonna get up and walk back over to the wall. How big are these thorns? Like an inch long, or like?
Yeah, they probably vary anywhere from about a half an inch to an inch and a half. So depending on the age of the vine that they're currently on.
All right, I'm gonna take my arm and kind of put it so my palm is lifted up so that my hand is in front of my face and my palm's facing me, and just drag my forearm across the thorns, kind of cutting my forearm pretty decently on a number of thorns.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna walk back over and like kneel down next to that monk, and I'm gonna like show him my forearm and be like,
Mhm.
is this enough now?
No. And he continues to hum.
Motherfucker. I'm gonna look up at the rest of them. I'm gonna be like, I have no idea what the hell we're supposed to do now. Anybody have any ideas?
Well, maybe it would have helped if you actually remembered what he said.
That's all he said, was that we had to be basically pierced by the thorn and of whatever.
Yeah, but when you say to me that he basically said, that means you're not quoting him.
Well, maybe you should have listened better and you would have heard what he said.
Hey, I asked him to repeat himself. He wouldn't. It's not my fault he whispered.
It's not my fault either.
But you actually heard him.
Barely. Like you said, he whispered.
Ugh. Did anyone else hear him say anything, or maybe someone else needs to talk to him? And maybe he'll only talk to us one time each or something.
I don't know. Me and Marm are inside the temple, so.
He's like, ah, damn it. Let's
I'm
go
gonna,
get them.
you go get them. I'm gonna ask another monk. Maybe they're only allowed to say one thing each.
Alright, well, that's as good a theory as any. I'll be back. I'm going to start heading toward the temple.
All right, let's then, in that case, take a quick little jump over to Galen and Marmalek. While Agnum / Dorian and Leo are out here kind of trying to figure things out on the outside, let's see how Galen and Marmalek are faring, figuring things out on the inside.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Marm would basically just be looking for anything he could read, be it runes or markings on the wall, or looking underneath some of the vines, seeing if there was anything going on in there.
All right, well, while the building is, like I said, one half of it, the half you're currently standing in, is very pristine and new, it is very basic. There's no filigree or flair to it, really.
And the other side, just walking through, I mean, would I be getting cut up walking through it, or?
If you want to walk into the other side, it'll be difficult to not get cut, but it would be possible to wade into the vines if you wanted to.
Yes, he would probably attempt to, based on what he had heard outside before coming in. Also, how big are the thorns?
Anywhere between a ½ inch to 1.5 inches long.
Okay, so not really big enough to rip one off and use it as any sort of stabbing device.
No, not really.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll kind of meander through, moving some of the vines as I go, and accepting that I'm going to get a few cuts.
All right. Does Galen have anything to say when Marmalek begins to kind of make his way towards the vines?
No, he saw him go in, so he kind of comes in after him, and he's expecting, like, not a lush gig, because obviously they're monks, but, maybe like a fire, maybe some food out on the table, and comes in and there's nothing around. It's just like, God damn it. So, Marm's like checking the walls, and he's like looking for inscriptions or whatever, and he's just kind of like kicking rocks and, kind of like looking in the corner, like, it's ridiculous. And then he starts heading off into the vines, and he's like, oh, whoa, Marm, you see something? Is there anything over there? Is there food over there? I mean, even if he's not hungry, like, food's food and drink's food and drink.
I don't see any food, but I don't know.
Is there a path over there?
Not really.
What? Are you sure you want to go in there? You're going to get all cut up. I mean, we've already poked ourselves, and I'll hold my finger out for him to look at. Didn't seem like it did anything.
That's true. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing on that side, so I'm checking out over here.
Okay, well, you want me to, like, maybe, is there space enough on the vines where I could, like, grab one and pull it back so he could kind of look in, or?
I mean, you can kind of see through it slightly. Any detail or anything like that is fairly obscured by the vines. And it's not like there's only like a couple there. There's a few dozen that intertwine around in this area.
Okay, so it's like a thickly woven.
Yeah, it's not like incredibly thick. Like I said before, there is kind of room where one might be able to maneuver their way through. You'd get pricked and cut, but it is feasible.
Would it be easier for me being small to kind of maneuver my way through?
Being small and not having a tail and other spikes and such, it probably would be easier, yeah.
So I look at Marm and I look at the spikes. I look at Marm and I look at the spikes. Like, I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Do you want me to go and take a look?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Do you think you could grab some of these vines here, kind of give me a little bit of space to move around in?
Sure, and I'll do my best to lift a little bit of it up and make a more accessible area.
At least giving him like a better starting position.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Now look at him one more time and. All right. Here goes nothing. And I'll kind of get down. I'm assuming I have to get like real low to the ground, like maybe even like lay down on the ground and kind of like start to shimmy in.
No, you could probably, squat a little bit and lift your leg up here and there to get in. So.
All right. Can I give you an acrobatics check to worm my way through?
Do it up.
All right. That's not fantastic. That's not terrible. 17.
All right. Hey, not bad. So you end up being able to kind of get your body here and there and worm your way through a little bit. That you're getting a slight prick here and there, but overall it's not too bad. So I'd say you probably get about 4 or 5 feet into these vines when you're kind of looking around. Suddenly, though, you find that you are, you've lifted your foot up and ducked down a little bit, and you find yourself now completely surrounded by the vines. There's really nowhere else to go. And in fact, they kind of begin to. They don't look like they're moving, but they kind of feel like they are.
So like, Marm, I can't get any farther. It's kind of tight in here. I'm gonna try to come back out, I guess. I don't see anything.
All right, I guess.
All right, and as you begin to try to move back, you kind of turn around very carefully and find that your entrance/exit is blocked. And eventually, now you begin to feel these pricks and this pressure around you. And eventually, you feel a bunch of the thorns that are pressing up against your skin push through.
Oh, fuck, Marm! Oh, shit, they're grabbing me! I can't get out, they're grabbing me!
And Galen?
Yeah.
Suddenly, everything goes black, and you see kind of stars almost. And you almost see the world from far away, and then as if flying at 1,000 miles an hour, you fly directly into the surface of the world. You just kind of fly down and stop immediately. And you see you remember the room that you guys were in with all the runes and writing and everything, the circular room. You see that, but only as a wall and a floor, no ceiling. You're not in a mountain at all, and you can actually see yourself with the rest of them. And you see the happenings exactly how it went along. And you see yourself with Leo go into the light and pass through it, and you turn to black, but you still have form. And you see yourself kind of let go, almost boneless, and float until you are laying horizontally. And then you are now covered in white, and then everything slowly fades to black again until you open your eyes and you're in the midst of the thorns.
Whoa, shit! Marm?
And the first time he had started a call, Marm would have pushed in and tried to find him.
All right, and you're finding it very hard to push your way through. In fact, most of the vines that you kind of had a little bit of trouble with moving, but were able to get them away a little bit, seem almost immovable.
Okay. Well then, he would have just kind of called out to Leo and Dorian. Hey guys, could use some help in here. And gonna wait, basically.
All right. So as this happens on the inside, Dorian and Leo are outside, and they're kind of like, all right, well, we're kind of out of ideas. So let's go talk to Marmalek and Galen, see what they have going on. And as this is happening, you guys begin to walk a little bit towards the temple, and Marmalek calls out. He's like, hey guys, help. And almost as soon as he does, eerily in the same time format, you guys actually see that there are now 4 paths visible in the plaza that weren't there before. You see that there is one that leads to the east, one that leads to the west, and 2 that lead north. And off in the distance, you can actually see a faint glow through the mist.
Okay.
Of course, that's only Dorian and Leo.
Yep.
All right. Well, even seeing that, there was a call for help, so gonna figure that situation out first. So I'm gonna start heading into the building. Not sure what Leo's gonna do, but I'm gonna leave him to his own devices.
Yeah, Leo's gonna follow Dorian inside.
Okay. Alrighty.
And yeah, so I'm gonna see that, and I'm gonna kind of go over. And is there anything like on the ground, on the good side, like anything that I could kind of push away some of the thorns with, or anything?
It's pretty desolate, except for the pebble here and there.
All right, I'm just gonna kind of try to push the vines away, then kind of trying to avoid as much of the thorns as possible.
Okay.
Like failing horribly, and try to get to Galen and drag him out.
All right. Galen.
Yes.
You actually see now, so the vines that were impeding your path and not letting you through, that were encompassing you now, you don't know why you panicked before, because you can pretty clearly spot your same route out now.
So I kind of start to calm down again, and I'm like, oh, that was really weird. And I, kind of try to extricate myself as carefully as possible and, start heading out back up the path that was probably there the whole time.
All right. So Galen, panicked at first, now looks like he actually does calm himself, and all three of you can see that he fairly deftly moves his way through the vines and back out to the clear side.
As I'm coming out, I'm like, Marm, I'm coming back out.
All right.
And I'm hopping back out of the thorns, because fuck that.
You actually were not able to actually make it into the thorns, weirdly enough. So.
I'm just going to, drop my arm, out of the thorns.
Yeah. It's probably because Galen's so tiny he was able to make it through easier.
That dick.
I'm going to call out to them through the thorns. What the hell's going on in there?
So I'm like, well, I'll tell you in a minute. I'm almost out.
All right, well, be careful.
Yeah, you better believe it. You don't have any pants on.
Oh.
You hate for your prick to get a prick.
Ah.
All right. So after a minute or so, Galen does eventually make his way back out.
All right. So I get out. I'm like, it was the weirdest thing. I went in and I told Marm I'd go in and take a look, see if I could find anything, and I got in so far, and then it was like a dead end, and then all of a sudden it felt like all the vines were grabbing me, and I passed out. I think maybe I passed out. Well, I'm probably not, because I don't pass out, but you know what I'm saying. So, I was in there, and then all of a sudden, I could see stars, and then, I felt like I was plummeting to the earth, and then I saw the room, the room where the library was, and then, I saw Leo and I go into that circle flame thing or whatever, and then it was dark, and then it, everything was white, and then we were here, and then it all went away, and then I was back to where I was, and I was able to get back out. I don't know. What do you make of it?
Well, I have no idea what any of that means, but something happened out here too.
What happened out here?
Well, we didn't get any help from the monks, but on our way inside to the building while you were... we heard Marmalek yell out for help. We saw several paths actually, I guess you could say, open up, but they just kind of appeared. They weren't there before that I noticed, but they seem to be here now.
Well, what did that chick say? Something about a pillar and only we would be able to see it, or something would light up? Is that what she's talking about?
Well, I didn't see any light in particular, but I mean, I suppose anything that's different is going to be a good thing.
Well, there's nothing in here. I mean, unless you want to go into the vines and see if something happens for you, but it was pretty tight getting through there.
Well, I'm assuming that this building and the vines won't be going anywhere, so I suggest we actually check out those paths first.
Oh, all right.
If nothing comes of that, we can always make our way back here and have one of us, other than you, go inside and see if anything changes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit again.
All right, well, let's step outside and see what we can figure out with these then.
And I'll give like a cast a wary glance over my shoulder at the vines and kind of like a unconscious shudder and follow them back out of the temple.
Alrighty.
As we're heading out, I'm going to turn to Leo. Do you still want to attempt talking to the monks?
Nope.
All right. All right, so head outside. Point out the 4 new paths.
Okay. And you see now that you get a little bit closer to them, they aren't necessarily connected to the temple, but they do seem to emanate from them. and you see that 3 of them are this somewhat black flagstone, while the 4th, one of the ones going north, almost kind of goes like a north-northwest slightly. It seems to be made of this white limestoney material. Want to give me perception checks?
Everybody?
Sure, why not?
22.
11.
18.
And 15.
All right, so Galen and Dorian then can pick up that when you exit and you begin to, Dorian begins to kind of show them the paths. And now, like I said, the monks kind of encircled this temple. And as you're walking around, it's eerily quiet. And in fact, you realize that all the monks have stopped their meditative hum.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Have they moved at all?
No, they're still in the same position.
All right. Having noticed that, I'm actually going to walk back over to the monk that we were speaking to initially.
Okay.
And kneel down in front of him, so I'm like maybe a foot and a half away this time, and say to him, "All right, so what happens now?"
And he gets up from his bowing state onto his knees to face you. And you can now see that when you look at him, you can see slightly underneath his robe, and his face is scarred with all these different lines of, different ages of scars on him. And he simply kneels, gets to a kneeling position, takes one of his hands and points to the east. And then when he does that, he withdraws his hand again and bows back down onto the ground.
All right. What do I see off in the direction he pointed?
After the mist, nothing. Though there is one of the paths that does lead that way.
Would that path happen to be the one that is made out of the whiter stone?
No, that's to the north.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to walk back over to the group. Well, he didn't speak to me, but he was slightly more helpful this time. I asked him what happens next. He pointed off to the east. I can't see anything beyond there. I don't know if you guys have any better luck with that or not, but one of these roads looks like it heads off that way. So, but the fact that one of the paths is different from the others also gives me cause for concern.
Well, the lady did say that the monks were supposed to show us the way, so I say we go to the one on the east that he pointed to. The fact that one of the other ones looks different may just be a false trail.
Do me a favor, Galen.
Yes.
Would you be so kind as to go up to that monk and ask him what happens now?
The same one?
Yes. I want to test a theory.
Oh, all right, sure. So I'll saunter over, and I guess he's bowed down, looking at the ground again still.
Correct.
So I kind of walk up next to him, real close to him, and I just kind of poke him in the shoulder, and I'm like, "Hey, so what are we supposed to do? We did that whole thing with the thorns or whatever. I don't know what that was all about, but there's a couple of paths here now. The woman said when we came in here that you were going to help, so."
All right, and so he gets up from his kneeling position, or from his bow into a kneel, and kind of adjusts himself so that he is facing you. And he takes one of his hands, points it slightly behind him, only because he's turned a little bit to look to you, but he points it at the path to the east. And then when he withdraws his hand back into his robe, he gives you a slight bow before turning directly into the temple again and going back down into the prone.
So I don't even move. I just turn around and I look at the group and I go, and I put my hands up like, he said to the east.
Alright, well, I guess that maybe disproves that theory. There's one other thing I could try, but I don't know. Do you guys mind if I give it a shot?
Well, we don't want any trouble with these guys. What are you going to do?
Well, it just seems to me a little ironic that one of us was caught up in the thorns, and you said you saw some strange stuff.
Yeah, it was weird.
And only one of us ended up going through that sort of ordeal, and there are 4 paths, 4 of us, and only one of those paths is colored differently. So, I thought maybe each one of us had to take a different one and had to figure out which one we each had to take. But if the monk is telling more than one of us to head in the same direction, that kind of disproves that theory. The only thing I could think of is maybe if I were to go inside and see if, something similar were to happen to me, and while you guys are out here, you could see if the paths change. That might be, an indication of something like that. But I mean, it's up to you guys. I don't mind doing it.
Well, if you wanted to give it a shot, I guess. Did the woman say how many tests there were? I don't recall.
I believe she said 9. Well, there were 9, I guess, areas that we had to go through, and doesn't necessarily mean there's only one test for each area.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want to try to get into the vines, it's pretty tight. It was tight for me. I don't even know if you'll be able to make it in there.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. All right, keep an eye on the paths, especially the darker colored stone ones.
You got it.
All right, and with that, I'm going to turn and head into the building.
Okay. What do you do when you're in the building?
He basically said he made his way into the thorns, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to see if I can start pushing my way deeper into it.
Okay. So you begin to, and whereas Galen was deft and agile in moving his way through, that's not how Dorian rolls. So I'm guessing you kind of just, force your way through the vines practically.
Yeah, as much as I can, yeah.
Exactly. And they move, they're fairly pliable, so it's okay. So you get your way through, and you get about 2 or so feet in before, one hand kind of becomes slightly entangled in one, and then you realize that as you're trying to lift your foot around and up, that foot becomes caught on a couple of vines, and soon you're almost completely surrounded by them. And you feel the puncture of them almost across several parts of your body, as then the push of the thorns as you begin to kind of wriggle a little bit forces its way into your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when everything goes black.
Okay.
And Dorian dies. No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to follow my god.
Wait, what?
So everything goes black, and then little by little, small flicks of light begin to appear around you until you are surrounded by light, little dots of it, pinpricks. And then you see a fairly close to you, actually, 3 lights appear, and then you see a burst of fire appear, and as these happen, they kind of cast shadows on, and they theoretically shouldn't because you're surrounded by darkness, and yet shadows appear around you. And you see in total 6 shadows. And you can kind of slightly make out the form from the shadow and from the light, because the light doesn't actually pass. It almost seems to pass through an invisible object, if that makes any sense.
No,
So
it does.
All right. So as if there's something there, but you can see right through it.
Yeah.
And except for one of the shadows, which has a shadow but no form. It's a little smaller.
Hmm.
One of the shadows is very large and menacing looking, and the other 4, other than the one with no form, are fairly average size. And you see all this kind of happen, and then suddenly the large menacing one comes in contact with one of the regular ones, and from that contact is a burst of light that illuminates the entire area around you. And you are now encapsulated in this giant light. And from that, you now see one of these forms, the form that was struck, becomes solid, but it becomes solid light.
Okay.
And it's almost as if it's drawn in some of the light around it, and it becomes solid. And then everything around that goes dark, and then eventually that light of that form fades out as well.
Okay.
And then you are able to open your eyes, and kind of light begins to flicker into them as you bat your eyes slightly.
Okay. So I'm awake again.
Yes.
All right. When that last form took shape, were there any defining features, or was it just kind of like a generalized overall shape?
No, it was pretty featureful. You could tell that the figure had, slightly shoulder-length hair, although you couldn't really discern color. It had a cloak on, and it carried a shield and some kind of blunt object in the other hand.
Huh. Okay. And that was the only one that actually took enough of a form to discern?
That was the only one that took form, period.
Okay.
Once the hit happened and the light burst,
Yep.
Everything else went away except for that one form.
Okay. Well, as long as I'm awake, I'm going to start making my way back outside then.
Alrighty.
So, pushing my way through, eventually get...
Hello?
We're all here. Well,
David? David's having connection issues, I bet.
mm-hmm.
I assume he just wanted to say, and then I
Well, while Dave is figuring that out, do we see any changes while we're standing around outside?
So you're waiting, and it's been probably a couple of minutes, and thus far there has been no changes. So everything kind of, there's still the 4 paths, one of them white, 3 of them black, and other than that, nothing goes from white to black or black to white, or the monks stand still, they don't keep chanting again, so everything pretty much is par for the course right now.
Alright, I should be all set, hopefully.
There you go.
Alright, so make my way back out. Everyone's still out there?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to start looking around. Any change?
Nope.
No, everything seemed to be the same.
Alright, well...
Did you go into the vines?
I did, and something definitely happened. I don't know if it was the same as yours, but...
So what you're saying is we should probably all do it?
If you're feeling up to it, I mean, it didn't seem to do any lasting or serious damage. And it was very, very cryptic, but also it seemed to be, I guess, enlightening, for lack of a better way of putting it.
What did you see?
Well, I was standing in darkness, and there were shadows but there shouldn't have been because I was in complete darkness. And there was light, and this one bigger, more fearsome shadow seemed to have attacked one of the lights, which formed into a body that looked almost familiar. I believe it was actually myself before I actually went to Elysium the first time. I could be wrong though. But it was very strange. I almost don't know how to describe it.
Okay then. Marmalek?
Yeah. I guess.
You think of what I'm thinking?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. I'm going inside.
It's not that much fun.
Yeah, but both of you saw different visions. Maybe putting all four of our visions together will help us later on.
Remember how I died last time too, and we all didn't do something? I don't want to do that again.
All right.
Yeah, but Agnum did it this time.
But the other two would have to do it as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe all four of us should do this.
All right.
Hey, I'm not going to stop you guys.
All right.
We'll wait out here. I don't know if you guys want to go in together, if you want to go in one at a time.
Yeah, might as well go inside together. Maybe not dive into the thorns together, but maybe do that one at a time.
All right. Well, we'll be out here then.
All right, and I'm gonna head inside. Marmalek, you can go first, and I'll go after you.
All right. I guess. And so Marm presses in to the vines.
All right, so you managed to maneuver your way in, and you make it a few feet before vines begin to encircle you, and you begin to feel, all claustrophobic and stuff. And pinpricks, pain, push in, copy paste here, and things go black. Marmalek, then when you open up your eyes, you are in a field of stars. And very similar to what I told Galen, you see this orb off in the distance that you begin to very quickly make your way towards, and you realize that it is a world, and you begin to comet towards the surface. And as you get mere feet away from it, everything stops, and you see yourself from a spectator's view within the circular room, though all it is walls and floor. And you see five of you, including Chomper. And you see the moment that you first walked into the light. And as you walk into the light, your body transitions from what it is into a darker shadow form, and it makes it about halfway through before being pulled back. And then you see a few moments go by, and almost as if time cuts, it stutters slightly. And then you see Marmalek again as yourself, crawling almost towards the light. And you reach out, and as you do, you are pulled through the light. And as you are, it's a transition from your normal into a shadowy, darker form of yourself. And however, you see that very briefly within the form, these cracks of red just sporadically burst through before dissipating. And your body gets pulled through, and once it becomes full shadow, goes weightless and begins to float and it goes horizontal as if you're kind of floating in water, and it floats up, and then is, as it stops, is encapsulated in this whitish gray before everything fades to black again and your eyes kind of flicker open.
Oh, well. Gonna just look around and find my way out of the thorns and look at Leo and go, well, they weren't lying. It's definitely strange.
Alright, well, I'm about to find out then. And then you can tell me all about yours. And I'm gonna kind of like lie down, like army crawl under the thorns, like under the vines.
Okay. So, and are you going to kind of continue that same crawl through?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So you do what you can, staying as low as possible every once in a while, having to climb over a vine. But then soon you feel yourself almost pushed down into the ground. Pain around your body pushes in, things go black. And once again, although new to you, not new to everyone else, small flicks of light begin to appear around you until you are encapsulated in the stars. You begin to shoot towards the orb. It grows. It's the world. And same thing, it begins to halt almost immediately, and you are hovering above yourself over the room, the ceilingless room, without a mountain to surround it. And you see yourself and Galen begin to walk into the light. And Galen does not pass through. His body pretty much disappears as it passes through the light. However, yours begins to continue on through. And as it does, it transitions from your regular body into a form of black. And though you're able to pick out as it begins to kind of go weightless, a small beat in the chest of this tiny little whitish yellow light, almost like a heartbeat. And as the form goes weightless and begins to float up, it is then soon encapsulated in the white, and then things fade to black, and your eyes open.
When you say that it like fades to black, does that mean like the small little light that was in the like my old body's chest, like that just like dimmed out, or like
no, it's in like it's almost like closing your eyes again, so where everything went to black.
Okay.
So it's not that light went out, it's that everything went dim.
Okay. All right, good to go. Just double checking. All right.
Good question.
All right, so with that, I'm now awake again, like inside the vines.
Correct.
All right, I'm gonna back out, and I'm just gonna look at Mom. I'm gonna be like, I'm just glad we only have to do that once. Let's go out to the other two, so we don't have to repeat what we saw. And I'm gonna walk out of the room to where Dorian and Galen are.
Alrighty.
Mom, you mind if I just go first?
Oh, go ahead.
And mine was quick. All I saw was the room with that portal when me and Galen walked through, and Galen just kind of disappeared, and then my old body just kind of formed into almost blackness, and then I had there was like a little ball of white light that was like pulsating in my old body's chest, almost like a heart of white light, and it just kind of beat like a heart, and then everything went black, and I woke up. Mine was kind of boring compared to you guys, year 2. So, what do you got, Marmalek?
Mine was similar. Just saw the room, saw me go through and then come back, and then go through again. And yeah, that was pretty much it. The floating and the everything going grayish white.
All right.
They're stunned in silence.
All right, so Eastern Path?
I guess so.
Yeah, nothing changed out here. I told you there was some weird shit in there, though.
I don't know. I don't really want to do it again. But it's
Well, hopefully
a
we
good thing to
won't
do.
have to.
And I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna start walking towards the Eastern Path, but as I go, I'm gonna kind of give Dorian like a weird look, and then just turn and start walking towards the path.
And seeing this, I'm going to call out to him. Something I can help you with?
Not yet, but I'll let you know when. No offense, but I get some stuff to think about, and I'll let you know when you can't help.
Alright, well, just remember, secrets kill. I'm going to start walking along, too.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
I'll walk up close to Marmalek, and as it's sort of iris down, fade to black, I'm like, this no pants thing, it has its advantages. I feel pretty free.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Oh, we can open iris next day.
Good job, guys.
Indeed.
Dude, Dorian's gonna get punched again.
Bitch, you don't want none.
I don't know, I better be a pretty even match at this point. Both of us naked, no weapon.
You want to beta test that one?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
I don't know. Let me roll once. I crit.
Oh, fuck you, sir.
Actually, no, you know what? I'm unarmed, so that's just a 20 crits, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. I got a 19.
Well, it hits.
still hits, but you
So
do
close.
what?
1d3 plus 2.
2 non-lethal damage.
I do 5 non-lethal.
Hi.
Ooh, ow.
Bring that up. Let's go. Let's do
All right.
it.
Well,
Let's
I
do
cast-
this.
I will cast Produce Flame. And will a 23 hit you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That is going to be 8 points of fire damage.
All right,
Whatever.
Dorian wins.
Oh,
You and your damn spells.
Dude, it's like I was actually going through looking at the cleric for like the Pathfinder version, and very like subtle changes from 3.5, but it is so much more fun building a battle cleric in Pathfinder than it is in 3.5.
I bet.
The one thing I miss, Shapestone.
Mm.
That
I
spell
bet you
was
do.
pretty badass.
Oh yeah.
You know what the one thing I really like about the 5e cleric
What's that?
is that as long as you have proficiency in an armor, it's actually the same thing with the wizard, is that as long as you have a proficiency in the armor, you don't suffer from disadvantage on spellcasting.
Oh.
Jesus.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That might
So-
be a little broken, but
Yeah, well, I mean, you could. So you'd have to invest feats, but eventually you theoretically could get a cleric in plate mail casting spells.
Yeah, but I mean, you get what, 1 feat every
4
4
levels. So
and
yeah.
they'll probably make you start at the bottom again. So you'd have to take light, medium, and heavy.
Oh yeah, the way that they
So-
work it is in order to get. I believe there might only be medium and heavy because I'm pretty sure almost everyone starts with light. I think, I can't remember. But yeah, it's a prereq where you have to have light in order to take medium, and you have to have medium in order to take heavy. So
I mean, by level 12, you can have heavy armor on.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, have fun investing those feats.
Yeah, Jesus. That's a bit.
Right. I had something else that I wanted to mention to you guys after we were done, but I can't remember what it is now, so I won't.
That's alright.
Yay, brain!
Yay.
But yeah, good job, guys.
Oh, thank you.
That was yeah. Oh yeah, Dave, that was the part when you were talking about your scene in the vines.
Oh no, I had a feeling like it was kind of iffy, but once you actually mentioned about the larger shadow like devouring and then the stuff like the final form taking shape, I had a pretty firm grasp on what was going on.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to do Agdam's death scene because you're not Agdam.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to do Dorian's death. So.
Right.
But yeah, no, I was really worried that you guys weren't going to climb the mountain.
Just keep walking around in a circle.
Right, and I was really worried that you guys weren't going to go in the thorns.
Well, that's why I went back and I figured I'd look for the cloud of birds.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we were supposed to head. I figured maybe we went a little too east or a little too west or whatever.
Yeah.
But
well, I will say it's a lot nicer for me as a player playing as Dorian as opposed to Agnum, because Agnum was more like, oh well, Leo is going to be the leader, so let's just follow his example, and everything will work out for the best.
Right.
As opposed to Dorian, whose leader was like a naive, blind paladin, so he had to step up every so often and be like, no, let's try this or let's do that. So
yeah, I think Dorian Skaz relationship was like Skaz is the figurehead, but Dorian is the mouth of sense.
Yeah, especially when it's like, oh, these poor people are cursed. Let's slaughter them all.
Yeah.
Dude, I still say that's a pretty damn good bit of reasoning right there.
Well, you know what? It would have relieved them of their curse, I imagine, but it's slightly less paladin-ish than I think most people would imagine.
What? Did I save them? I saved them.
Did you?
Well, actually, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't because they made me run away before I freaking could.
Yeah.
You would have died.
Bitches. I wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you guys could have taken on a couple of dozen commoners.
Right? I could have taken on a couple dozen commoners by myself.
You were 9th level. I mean,
that's true.
In magical tessellated armor.
Oh, I miss those days. High levels, lots of stuff.
You guys will make it there again eventually.
Eventually.
See, I've just never known those days, so...
I almost envy your ignorance.
Arnoush was level 10 with tessellated armor.
Yeah, we all know how that went.
Well, no, John doesn't.
I really wanted it to be a solid piece of armor that he just couldn't take off.
Me too.
That would have been hysterical.
Well, hopefully, the plan is that when Al, when you come back, we'll basically introduce your character, do a session or so, and then I'm actually hoping, I've talked to Gabby about it, and I'm hoping that we can get back and finish her campaign.
Nice.
So we should only have she said that we should only have a session or two at the most left of that. So I would like to finish that up just so that I have my unfinished campaign sense has been biting at me for a year, for a fucking year. So
I've been getting a little excited to introduce the character. So
nice.
We'll see how it goes.
It should be good.
So, not to ruin anything, and you can feel free not to answer, does that mean you will not be playing as Harmon?
Not when I come back. No, not initially, at least. I mean, the way things were working out, he was more of a marauding soldier when Jesse and I left off the one-off.
Yes.
To kind of fill in the gaps. And based on what I've listened to from your sessions, the Oracle kind of veered you guys in a direction that wouldn't leave you immediately accessible to the soldiers. So no, initially I'm going to be playing a character who's a bit more physical than Harmon ever was. So
Very nice.
wow, it should be interesting.
Indeed.
As an aside, the wizard does not have any armor proficiencies at level
Oh, there
1.
we go. Yeah.
Where are you guys getting all the references for
The
fifth
basic-
edition?
The
Your
basic
mom.
PDF.
I
You
don't
can
think.
go to Wizard's website. I'll get the link for you.
Oh,
It's free.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So
Well, it's like level 1 through 5 though, right? It's free.
no, that's the starter has level 1 through 5.
Oh, okay.
The basic PDF has everything.
Oh, okay.
It has it has levels 1 through 20. It only has 4 classes. So
Right.
it has the fighter, wizard, cleric,
There you go.
barbarian.
Everything you
no.
need.
Yeah. And then it only has 1 archetype of each. For now. They said that they want the basic PDF to be a living document. So when the player's handbook releases, they're going to add monsters to it, so that you can actually begin to run campaigns directly from it. They haven't said yet whether or not they're going to add more classes or more archetypes to it. I kind of have a feeling that you have to spend money at some point. They need to keep the game going. So I think they'll give you, you'll have to have some reason to buy the handbook. So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, thus far at least the basic rules and everything are free.
Sweet.
So yeah, and they're pretty awesome. And it's 110, 115 pages long.
Yeah, 110. I just
Yeah.
flipped through it now.
Yep. So, yeah. Although the player's handbook is going to be 320 pages, so
Oy.
that's going to be a beast,
It's gonna be like a Fantasy Flight book.
right? Ah,
Wow, they streamlined skills even further. Jesus.
you really did, yeah.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to bother, and it takes away a little bit from the micromanagers, but you don't put points into skills now.
Right.
So you're proficient from 2 in your class and 2 from your background.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get a bonus to those, depending on your proficiency bonus. So,
Nice.
but yeah.
See, I downloaded it, but I haven't looked at anything yet.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, that's the bonus of my job, is that I can just read through it. So I've already read through it a couple of times.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I was having the issue of when the player's handbook comes out. I want to support my local gaming store,
Mm-hmm.
but I also want to save $20.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's 50 if I go to Battleground to buy it. It's 30 if I buy it on Amazon.
I would.
Yeah. You know what? I bought the starter set from them.
Exactly.
And I might go back and get the DMG from them when a little bit of time has passed and when it's up the summer. So the problem that we run into in July and especially August is Amanda doesn't get paid over the summer.
Right.
She just gets one large chunk of her paycheck. So she basically gets 3 months worth of the pay in one check. So we have to budget to get that to last.
I hope they at least give it to you at the start of the summer.
They do, yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
that's good.
it's her very last paycheck at the end of the year,
All right.
the school year. But we have to look, and we can't look at it as oh, now we have all this money. We have to.
Mhm.
We've ended up over the last couple of years developing this. Well, she has developed the system where we basically deposit it into savings and then withdraw it as if she's getting paid every couple weeks.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're getting to that point where it's, crunch time. So I'm like, I don't think I need to save money where I can. But yeah, so that was that. Good system. Good play, guys.
Indeed.
I'm gonna try to go to sleep because we have the game night tomorrow night as well.
Indeed.
You know what? I'm kind of happy that we rescheduled because I don't know how I was gonna do 3 games in 4 days. So this is nice. But yeah. So I will, of course, talk to you guys probably within the next couple days.
Indeed.
XP.
Oh, sweet.
I'll give you guys 100 XP each.
Yay.
Nice.
So it's a little something. Try to get you guys back up to where you were.
Works for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a good night.
You as well.
You too.
You as well.
And we will all talk at another date.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
Indeed.
All right. All right, night, guys.
All right. See you later.